Let me just quickly tweet this out and then we'll start. All right, let's go. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ringside Fracas. I'm your host Naeem, and today I'm joined by Sams. Samson, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad.
How's your week been? Good?
Yeah, I've been busy as always, but making it happen.
We've had some decent fights going on this week as well. Have you caught any of them? Yeah,
I caught most of it. Was interested in a lot in a boxer card yesterday, so I caught some of those fights. Also caught Danny Garcia as well.
Yeah, one of the biggest fights, but fights in general, and hopefully in the next few weeks with the Usyk Joshua or whatever, we're gonna start to ramp up and get more bigger and bigger fights as the weeks go by. So we'll go into the biggest, I think probably the best fight of this weekend, down in Bournemouth in the Bournemouth International Centre on the boxer card, where Billam-Smith took on Isaac Chamberlain to defend his European, I think it was just the European cruiserweight and Commonwealth cruiserweight titles, in a brilliant, absolutely brilliant war between them and gets a unanimous decision. Did you catch that fight, and what did you think of it?
It was a sick fight. Like, I was intrigued as to how that fight would go, purely because Chamberlain hasn't really had many rounds, and he was someone on the way up. I thought would go quite far. I guess the Cody curse once again kind of got to him, where I kind of thought that he would beat a Cody, but once again the Cody came through, and just his stylistic fight and kind of plummeted Chamberlain's stock value as well. Then he just kind of been plodding along. I think he's had like one fight, maybe one or two fights, and he kind of started picking stuff back up again, the Wasserman show. But he's someone I've always rated kind of highly skill wise, but I think maybe weight wise he's just not physically there for it, and that's where he kind of gets beaten in a rough house. Like when it gets a bit tough, he's just not got the physical presence, because he's game. He's very game. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a good chin, but he just physically isn't where he needs to be to kind of compete against Smith and that, which will kind of happen. Where I thought he was a better boxer, just not physically enough to do it. So yeah, man, it's a bit sad because I do like him. I feel like he's had he's had a very, very rough time with like his career to date, with shoulder injury and so forth, and just not quite got it going. But yeah, it was. But in terms of fight, that definitely would have raised his stocks even with the loss. Billam-Smith kind of just moves on, I guess, now. But yeah, it was a good fight. Like, it was a very good fight. I thought it was very entertaining. It was ebbs and flows. No one was having their way. I think the scorecards was a bit wild. 117, 110, three ways.
I had it like that. So I'll get into why I had it like that. But yeah, that was my scorecard as well.
But in saying that, I wasn't scoring the rounds, and if you're scoring the rounds, then maybe you could say, yeah, he won the majority of the rounds. But I just looked at it as, to me, it was like a tough competitive fight. That's why I watched it. I think maybe because I was watching the fight and enjoying the fight, I watched it rather than scored it.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes scorecards can be misleading. Like, it can be a competitive fight, but one guy can be consistently getting those rounds. So like, if you say it's a 9-3, for example, you think it's more dominant than it actually was. So like, I had it 9-3, and that was because in the rounds where you could even tell by round 12, like Billam was like tired, like he was finished. He was almost out of there.
I thought he only got taken out almost.
Yeah, 10 seconds. We were saying 10 seconds more, and he probably could have like got dropped there and even finished. So, but in the rounds that Billam-Smith was tired, and it seemed like round 7 to like 10, or around 7 to 9, and Isaac, credit to him, he's only had like 6 rounds in the last 3 years, but he's proper fit. Pause, but like, I mean, like, he's proper, what I mean, like his conditioning is actually good, and he's physically gifted, like athletic. You can tell, you can look at him, he's proper gifted, and he was in proper shape. But even in those rounds, I felt like he didn't do himself a service, because he was good at being more sharp and keeping it at range. and Billam wants to come in forward, make you on the ropes, and make it a rough fight. And I felt like at times when Billam-Smith was tired, Isaac wasn't moving as much, but he was engaging in the pocket more, and that was favoring Billam because then he didn't have to do much more work. That's why I gave him those rounds, and it became a 9-3 rather than what it seems like competitive. So I feel like Isaac could have won that had the tactics in those rounds changed, because he could have easily picked up 3 rounds there, and we could have been looking at a draw. So that's why I feel like he failed there, where he was the fresher fighter, but he wasn't working to his advantage. And Billam is like, credit to Chris Billam, because who takes on Isaac Chamberlain as like a homecoming fight? Like, Isaac's a proper tough competitor, so like he could have taken on anyone. Like, it was, I don't think it's a defense or anything like that, a mandatory anything like that. It was just he wants the big name before he takes on a bigger name. Now, who's next for Billam-Smith? I wonder, because the IBF champion, the Australian guy that just beat Breedis, he's out for months because of a jaw surgery, because his jaw was broken. Okoli's being weird. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. And I don't know. Do you want to
contract with Eddie, or did he think his contract was done? Is that what it was?
I think he has one more fight, but I don't know what they're doing in that one more fight. Like, is Eddie not delivering something for him, or was the last fight that we all slated when we were watching it live?
I thought it was horrible, man.
I remember Eddie gave him a Rolex. I think after that fight, they were like, "Oh nah," so I don't know. It's very weird because there's no update on the future for Okoli. So there could be a fight with Okoli, or maybe Boxer tries to get Billam-Smith to do a rematch with Riakporhe because they had a close fight. But do they want to do that? Because Riakporhe's one fight away from the title as well.
Yeah.
So it's very weird for Billam, and I think CBS might go back to Matchroom as well. Like, this might have been just a one fight thing because Eddie didn't want to do a Bournemouth fight because I can't lie, these men probably got a lot of purse, but the stadium was filled, but not really. It wasn't even a stadium, it was the leisure center. It was like half filled still. So, but we'll see. Chris, I think he's a tough fight for anyone, even anyone at the domestic level. We'll see where he can go from there. With Chamberlain, like you said, his stock still rises, and hopefully we can get him in there with the other domestic talents like Dion Juma, Mikel Lawal. He was on the undercard.
Oh, is he? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he fought. I don't know who he fought. Some Argentinian guy and knocked him out in the second round.
Okay.
He also there's also Tommy McCarthy. He could take on Chris Billam-Smith's former opponent. There's also that Vidal Riley guy. So there's a lot of guys for Isaac there to fight, and hopefully Boxer do pick him up and stay with him, because I think he'll be a top quality talent to put on some of those cards. So how do you think Chris Billam-Smith fares against any of the champions?
I think he's a good, worthy opponent, but I don't see him really rising to the cream on top of it. I'm saying, like Riakporhe at the end of the day beat him and beat him.
Yeah, it was a close fight. He dropped him in a close fight.
Yeah, it was close, but I thought that like if you're not beating him, then mate, I don't like. He's a good opponent, but I don't see him. Like, as Mayweather would say, like straight in down fight, no special effects. Like, I don't really see a world champion in him.
Yeah, okay. But to be fair, like, the thing is, it pisses me off because Makabu's there. I feel like loads of even domestic level guys could beat Makabu. Like I think Chris Billam-Smith could beat Makabu, but the only issue is because he's with Don King and Daniel Dubois is still waiting for his payday. So, like, do you want to take that risk of getting the belt but then not getting your money?
He hasn't been paid out yet.
That's what I'm hearing. Like, I haven't heard anything about him getting paid yet or anything, and there's still issues with And I'm like, well, if you're working with Don King, that's going to be an issue.
But how does Frank Warren, of all people, find himself in a position where his fighter's getting robbed? Like, how does that happen?
I don't know. He should have put something legally in place. I still don't know if he's got paid or not. I mean, I don't think he has, or else, it wouldn't be such a topic online. So I mean, it is mad if he didn't. But also on the undercard, we had Ben Whittaker, the highly touted light heavyweight, who I made a scouting report. If you didn't catch that, I made it yesterday, put it on the channel, so have a look at that. And my scouting report was right. It went the way I thought it was going to go. His debut, he was flashy. in the first round, and he was showing off like his elusive movement. I mean, I think out of all the light heavyweights, maybe Bivol, but he's probably like the quickest mover. I don't see that many light heavyweights that could move as quick as him, like with his feet as well. His footwork's actually quite good. He was very like flashy. Sorry,
got fast hands as well. Like
yeah, and he's 6'3", so like he's got a proper long but thin frame. And his body, like I said, with the Thomas Hearns emulation, he can if he uses his body mechanics well, you saw in the second round he can translate power properly, and it was a good debut in my opinion. But like I said in the scouting report, he's going to divide he's going to have a lot of opinions divided on him, because some people are going to like him, some people are going to hate him because of his personality, and I saw that online. There was some people, oh, he's a prick, I don't like that stuff like that. So it was always going to come. How do you feel about his debut, and what do you think he's going to do?
Confident guy, that he's super confident. He has bags of ability. Like the only thing that a lot of like people I've spoken to, we all kind of come to the same conclusion of, I just want to see how he fares when, you know, like you get a guy that can step forward and rough you up. Have you got the power to keep that fighter off of you? Because he's let's put this, he's a slippery guy, man. He's very slippery. Like he's very elusive, footwork, like head movement, all the rest of it. It's like a bit of it's a bit. He's got fun. He's very fun. He's fundamentally sound, but he fights in a kind of unorthodox way.
Yeah.
In terms of he's kind of Roy Jones, like in terms of like he's very reflex heavy, and then I guess you just want to see that if a guy comes in there in the pro game and starts, you know, going to war and trying to take you to the trenches, do you have enough power to not just rely on your reflexes and your footwork to actually bite down and, you know, put enough mustard on your punches to keep a guy off of you? Because if you don't in the pro game, it's long. It's a hard graft. Like skills wise, yeah, mate, he's got in bags full. But in terms of pro debut, this is done what expected. I feel like Sky kind of told him, go out there and, you know, have fun, because as much as I've watched him in the amateurs and he's flashing the rest of it, but I feel like he wanted to put. I feel like I don't know if it was maybe it might have been a bit of nerves here, but he overcooked the showing off thing for me. Like it seemed like he was trying to put on a performance. Like he had in his mind, I'm going to put on a performance in terms of I'm trying to wow the crowd, I'm trying to get my name out there, and that which is part of the game. At the end of the day, you got to be a sportsman and you got to be, you know, showmanship. You've got to do the showmanship thing to, you know, elevate his profile. So I get it, but you know, he's had harder fights in the amateur game, so I'm not really gonna, you know, put too much stocks in it. Yeah, he got a knockout win, which is great, and I guess so he's passed the acid test in terms of you got enough power, but we need to see it against, you know, top quality opposition. For me, I want to see him get moved along without regressing, without the quality regressing too much. Like let's not, because this what tends to happen. You get an amateur fighter who has a great amateur background, he's gone to the Olympics, he's got a silver medal, and then they've gone to the pro game, and the first 15, 20 fights are absolute binmen. I don't really understand how that works, because we know you can box, we know you can do a good job here. So let's keep the level at a decent level where he's progressing. Do you know what I mean? Where we can actually see active progression. Step it up. You don't need. He's someone that you don't need to, you know, baby, in my opinion. Let's bring him on and let's get to see what he's really about as quick as possible.
So a bit like the method they're using with Matchroom using with Galal Yafai, where because he won the Olympic gold recently, they've just thrown him straight in, not all the way into the deep end, but they've thrown him in with top quality guys that you wouldn't get until like your 10th or 15th fight.
Yeah. I think because on that like, you know, level of class where you don't need to have him in there against, like, you know, 15 guys from Dagenham East Station. You don't need to do that. Like, so because all we're gonna do is see him go in there, knock out 10 bums, and then someone will come in there that's like levels above him. We're like, and because he's now dropped in quality, it looks way harder than what, you know, he was at. He's already at a level from the Olympics where he's fighting good quality opposition. Do you know what I mean? So we don't need to see him drop down. I don't really see the point of that. But yeah, in terms of performance, in terms of showmanship and all the rest of it, he done everything he was meant to do. Like he scored a score at A. Do you know what I mean? But let's just keep it moving in it. Like keep it moving and not get gassed on that performance. And I just want to see him pass those tests of someone comes in that really pushes him back and pins him against the ropes, and you're not as footwork heavy and elusive, but you can actually stand there, slip a punch and counter punch and the rest of it in the pocket. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can do a lot of first things from range, which you can do that all day long. He looks like he can really have someone missing on that. But in the pocket in those championship fights, when someone's literally on you, what are you gonna do? That's what I want to see.
100%. Yeah, I mean that's a brilliant assessment. I mean, the thing I expect that Sky are going to do, I think they've had talks about now putting him in on the Usyk Joshua card, even though because he's not matching. But Adam Smith suggested that in the and Boxer have been running that agenda the whole night that they're going to put him on the AJ Usyk undercard.
You have to see that work really.
Because I think because he's got 258 management, so they're going to try to sort something out to get him on there, and it makes sense because on the biggest platforms of the year, you might as well get him on that card. I think I agree with you. He should be fighting higher level guys, but I think this year we're going to see him fight the sort of like obviously lower level opposition because it's taken so long for him to get into the ring. He's kind of lost that hype in a bit because it's taken so long because of his injuries and the fact that the Olympics was a year ago. So the hype is kind of like sort of slowing down. So in order to build that hype up, I feel like Sky will get him out there regularly against guys that he can stop in 1 or 2 rounds. Is what they're doing, with the Adam Azim guy. They're getting him in with guys they know he can stop within 1 or 2, slowly upping the opposition. But that way, the more regular they are on the screens, the more we talk about them, the more relevant they are, the bigger their brand and profile become. I like the method that Galao is taking, where we could see him fight for the British title by the end of this year or by the start of next year with Galao. We could see him fight for the European title and then by a world championship by the next year. Like Galao's like they're trying to Matchroom, you can tell, trying to fast track him. They've got stocks in him where they think he can do well in his division. With Ben, I feel like because they're trying to bank on him being like an AJ where he can sell out.
Yeah,
he can sell out the big stadiums. They're gonna have to strategically want to see who they put him in with. He said he wanted Dan Aziz in his what was it, like straight away or in his 5th fight, and I'm thinking that's not a fight you want because that's a guy who there's a difference. There's amateurs and there's pros. Dan is literally like the epitome of what a pro is, like a proper fighter, comes out there and he's gonna put that pro style on you, rough and tough. He's gonna stick those right hands in your face all day. You don't want that unless you're ready for it. But he talks with big game, and fair enough, you have to have a personality and a character in this game to be noticed. And if you're boring, it will show in your money and how many people turn up to your fight. And he's one of those guys that are trying to turn out to be
superstar.
Yeah, basically.
I can't lie. Give me Dan Aziz, Ben Whittaker. Give me that fight.
Speaking of Dan Aziz,
that is exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm saying. Where I would say if you go in there and do a job on Dan Aziz, which is no easy ask at all, I'm gonna look at Ben Whittaker and say, we've got something special here. I'm not doing this again where I start banking early and putting all my stocks into another fighter. I refuse. I refuse to ever be in a position where another British guy comes along, gives me the flash and daz, and I buy all into it, and it's a dud product. I've done it with Chris Eubank Jr. I'm not doing it again. And I refuse. It's not happening. So until I see a real acid test, I'm keeping over there, keeping a bit of stocks in you, but I'm not going all in yet.
That's the crossroads that we come with Ben Whittaker, isn't it? Is does he go down the path of like AJ and Ahmed Khan, where the brilliant, highly rated amateurs that become pro superstars and can sell out arenas and become world champions, or does he go down that route of like you said, Chris Eubank Jr. or even Josh Kelly, where highly rated, especially from the amateurs, but then they come into the pros, and especially with the flashy stuff, and then they don't deliver as well. So that's a gamble you're really taking.
I'm not being done by another fraudster. I refuse.
But if he beat, like, let's say Boxer for some reason say, okay, at the end of the year, Ben Whittaker, Dan Aziz, and he beats Dan Aziz, I'll fully say he'll probably go on to win a world title.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If he did that, mate, I'm all in on him. All in.
Yeah.
Buy all the stocks up.
Yeah, but that's the thing now is I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's probably his toughest. Like if we say like domestic level, will probably come by the end of next year. If we're being realistic, by the end of next year, like he'll have like 5 or 6 set fights, and then they'll go, okay, let's see if we can't go get a British or English or British title, and then just move their way from there. Speaking of Dan, do you see who Ben?
Yeah,
he's 25. So there's kind of time. There is kind of some time left. He's sort of in his prime now, and he's entering his man years strength. So like we'll see now. And 258 is also his management. So there is that also possibility that he could leave for DAZN and Matchroom. So you never know. You never know with the game.
Because don't see that. I don't see him doing that because at the end of the day, he could have joined them originally and he opted against him. So I don't see why he would then turn around. And at the end of the day, Sky are literally trying to build their brand around Ben.
Yeah.
Like
you can tell they're trying to make him the face.
Why would you then leave to go and join the app? I don't really see that making sense. That's my personal opinion.
I just hope they start whoever. I hope he goes out to the Usyk Joshua undercard and he's on there because I want to see him there. I want to see him again regularly. I don't think he was properly tested and think he'll be fine enough to go out and fight next month. And hopefully the journey of Ben Whittaker is something that we have another British champion on our hands because we haven't had many British champions in the last few years. So we need to start getting some more. Did you catch the news that Dan Aziz fighting Shakan Pitters?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's fighting Shakan Pitters. That's a proper fight on the Billam-Smith card for boxer.
Okay, when's that?
September something. That's a proper fight. Because I remember the British Boxing Board of Control ordered that, so I was wondering whether they're going to make it, and then now they made it. So proper fight for Dan. And
see, Dan Aziz is a throwback. Like he's taking everyone on. You got to give the guy credit, man.
Yeah, literally, Hosea Burton and Shakan Pitters are 2 quality names to have on a domestic level.
Like he's really going through the grassroots route. Like he's just going through it. Like all challenges accepted. Then when he starts stepping up, he's going to be sound because he's gone through the tests.
Yeah, and also I wouldn't be surprised if the next thing he goes for is the European belt, like because he said he wants to get like every single belt that's available, like the regional, then the British, English, the Commonwealth. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're going for the European next. Speaking of European, and because we're on the subject of lightweights, I'll keep it there. The EBU, the European Boxing Union, I think, they ordered the European light heavyweight fight between Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi. What do you think about that?
Wait, what?
They ordered a fight for their title, the European title, between Buatsi and Callum Smith.
Oh, that's a great fight. Great fight.
Do you think it happens though?
No, I don't think it happens. But no ways it happens. I don't think that's realistic. Like, but if there was to fight, why not? Like, mix it up. Mate. That's what we need. But I don't like Buatsi's got his eye on Bivol, from what I understand, and yeah, no, even Callum Smith who's he meant to be fighting again?
What a leak for the WBC eliminator.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's us. But who would you say if it wasn't them two? Which 2 fighters would you like to see fight for that European title? Out of the guys that you.
Where it's just gonna be the matchups. I want ultimately Buatsi versus Yards, but you know,
for the European title.
Not for you. I'm saying in general that I don't.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying like if 2 guys who aren't on that world level yet, but they could benefit from fighting for that. Who do you think?
I'm not sure. Who are you thinking?
I'd say if Dan Aziz wins against Shakan Pitters, get him. Whoever the winner between Dan Aziz and Shakan Pitters is, get them in there, and then maybe Craig Richards.
I was gonna say Craig. I was thinking Craig Richards would be a good shout, but
yeah. I was having a talk with Travis J. So he was saying, isn't that a step down because he believes that Craig is world level? But I said was, if let's say Craig Richards took on, let's say Callum Johnson, because they're both highly rated in the European ranking. Callum Johnson is probably if Craig wins, which I think he will, is the biggest name on his record on his name. Callum Johnson would be by far the biggest name that he's taken on, and then the European title would be the biggest achievement that he's got, and it would launch him into certain opportunities for the world title and world level names.
Yeah,
so I think for Craig that would be something to look at to get himself back in there in the mix with the top guys. Yeah. So. Like heavyweight division's hotting up, and hopefully
it's simmering.
We get those big fights, man. Like at Niyard, I don't know what's going on with him and Beterbiev, because Beterbiev just had surgery on his knee, so don't know how that fight's going to happen in October. But yeah, and nothing's been announced, has it? They just said it's going to be in October. So I don't know what Frank is on, because I don't think that fight's happening.
It depends. You never know what the actual surgery was, and it might just be something like that. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That'll be a good fight. We'll go over quickly to the American side, the PBC side. Danny Garcia took on Jose Benavidez and beat him by majority decision. Funnily enough, two welterweights fought each other at 154, which doesn't make sense, but yeah. How did you catch the fight, and how do you think of Danny Garcia's performance against Jose?
It was a good performance. He's been at the ring for a little while. Since Errol Spence sent him to mental health issues.
Okay, I'm not laughing at that.
But yeah, like he's come back. It was a good performance. I thought it was like actually good work. Benavidez didn't offer much. In all fairness, he kind of just stood there and stayed in front of him. And although he's been at the ring for a long time as well, but none of them should be at 154. And I don't see how like what their campaign would be at 154. I don't see what Daniel Garcia's campaign would be at 154. Like I think it's too small. But he has got like he's a good boxer. Like he's actually a quality fighter. But I just don't see that. I know Tony Harrison was calling him out yesterday. He was calling him out quite a bit. But it's too big for him, in my opinion. But maybe it surprised me that Daniel Garcia has always got the equalizing left hook, which he didn't really throw that much. He was landing a lot of right straights yesterday. But I've always liked Daniel Garcia as a quality fighter, so maybe that's why. Maybe I'm a bit biased. But I looked and thought, yeah, he looks good, man. I feel like he can do something, but you just have to manage him a bit in terms of who he did fights. And who's actually got the belts at 154? Charlo, yeah.
Yeah, which I forget. Is it Mal? Yeah. I think it's Mal. It's Mal, isn't it?
Mate, one of them.
yeah, Mal. Yeah, he's got all of them.
Oh yeah, shit, unified, isn't it? Yeah.
Sweet, yeah.
And what's he? Well, you're not fighting Charlo.
Yeah, well, and Charlo's not fighting until January.
Yeah,
so he's fighting Tim Tszyu. So, and yeah, like you said, they're all too big. Like Danny wasn't even a big welterweight like that. Like he was decently sized at welterweight. And Jose, I can't like Jose makes sense to move up to 154, but he's just not good.
Yeah, but he's been super inactive since he got that shot in the leg, whatever it was. Then came back against Crawford. I can't lie. I've not really heard his name. I didn't even realize he had a fight in between that.
He fought the guy that Hamza Shearer's just knocked out.
Yeah.
He fought that guy and they went to a majority draw.
Wow.
So it hasn't been the greatest. That's why when this fight was announced, and especially at 154, I was looking at it and thinking there's nothing going forward. I knew Danny would probably win, but there was nothing going forward for Danny because, like I said, like you said, the guys are too big. He's not that, and he's not got the power to hold them off. He's not got the speed to hold them off. And I can't like technically he's good, but is he better than a Tony Harrison? Is he technically better than a Charlo right now in his career? Not really.
His timing's always been his biggest attribute. Like his timing's sick. Like you can't can't beat timing, which really does help because even just yesterday the way he was kind of moving, you just can't beat timing in it at the end of the day. Which has saved him even against speedy guys, powerful guys, whatever. And he does have decent footwork enough to box here, but mate, if you're just undersized, you're undersized. And when you get someone that's like a dog hungry guy like Charlo, mate, scary.
Yeah. Like I said, he looked good, but partly I think also it's because Jose wasn't good as well. So I think when we see if Danny's proper on trying to become a champion at 154, and we'll probably see him in either Tony Harrison, because he's available, maybe Fundora, but if they make that fight,
that is hell.
There's Lubin. Who else is there?
I don't see him beating any of these guys.
Yeah, so but I think they'll have to make that a fight next if he wants to make a move, and those guys will take him because Danny Garcia is a name to put on your record, and you'll get some money from that. So, but yeah, it for me it's just good fight, but it doesn't make sense. Like I don't see where you're gonna go from here now. Like, but if he's gonna credit him if he takes on the 154 guys like the Harrisons, the Fondoras, or whoever. Because you gotta give it credit to him. He's moved up. He's doing it. Even Errol and Terrence, they move up to 154. I don't see them doing that well I'll be real. They're brilliant fighters, but some guys can make physical size count. So
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what's next.
I think if they even move up, it's I think Charlo would move on, and then the belts will get dispersed or whatever. Then they just can pick up a belt and basically retire. That's what I look
and
at.
then just say like, oh, I'm a 2-weight champion or multi-weight champion.
Literally a 2-weight champion and retire. That's what I've always saying, which is a nice way to bow up for Ebel. If Crawford was to do, obviously legacy. But yeah, I just look at it as Charlo moves on, the belt's dispersed, then you're gonna get an easy touch because they'll probably end up going up and end up being mandatories for the belt anyway because of the elevated statuses and whatnot, isn't it? Yeah.
And the other Charlo was talking a lot, even though his fight got cancelled because he had a surgery, didn't he? And he was meant to fight Sulecki, but that didn't pan out. And then he said he wants Andrade. He was saying he wants Andrade, he wants Benavidez, he wants Plant. But it's just talk at this point. Like, you either make the fight, and Andrade fight is actually easier to make because now he's not with Matchroom, he's with Demetrius Lita. So
I didn't even know that. Thank God he's finding out. Oh my days! No wonder why he was out doing that drunken video.
Yeah.
What the hell was that about? He was moving like he was on like he was completely toasted.
Because he's been out of Matchroom for time, but the Parker fight didn't come through, and then I think it was injury, wasn't it, to Andrade? So they pulled out, and then I think Frank just said, "I'm not making that fight again. I can't be bothered, and there's no interest in it, so I'm going to move."
He's a bum. Like Andre's a bum. I'm sorry, he's a bum. He's a bum who had like literally been holding the belt hostage like this point. Like he's a bum, man. Like, get him out of here, man. Honestly,
that's why the WBO ordering the
guy is called like Chris Eubank Jr. Who's also a bum as well, by the way. Like I saw him today that I'm like, yeah, I'm done with you. He's really trying to fight Jake Paul.
Oh yeah. He called him out. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing to say about that. I've said from time Chris Eubank shown he doesn't have title ambitions. After the Williams fight, he had a brilliant performance against Williams. After that, you could see there was no rush for him to go fight for a title. He's waiting. He's probably waiting for Triple G to retire so then he can pick up the vacant belt. And Charlo has no interest in fighting Charlo, and Andrade again, he has no interest in fighting someone like that because I think Andrade beats him. So.
That's the worst bit. I don't know. I think it's a toss-up, that fight. I don't really rate. I've said it a million times. I don't rate Andrade like that. So everyone has a lot of stocks in him. I don't know why. I've never seen him in an actual competitive fight that says, yeah, this is a real acid test, like performance to say, yeah, you're actually good. He's someone who literally has stolen a belt and basically hid from everyone, as far as I'm concerned. He wasn't really trying to make a fight with anyone. Just made a lot of noise and did nothing.
Yeah, but his next fight, if he does choose to defend his WBO belt,
he had a mandatory reduct. He said not fighting.
Yeah, the Janibek guy, I wouldn't fight him. That guy's scary, man.
But then when are you ever gonna fight? When are you actually gonna take a fight?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he has to fight him because that's his mandatory. But he's a scary guy. That guy is proper on it. Like I think he could probably stop Andrade if he catches him. So Andrade's a weird one because it doesn't. There's no movement again. Like him, there's no movement on his career, and that's what I hate about a lot of boxers is you complain like you're not a star and you're getting these fights, but you're not moving your career like that in any direction. You're kind of waiting around. So obviously no one cares about you. You're not going to make as much money and you're not going to get the power to get the fights that you want.
Yeah.
We'll see what's next. Just quickly go into this one. So Josh Kelly took on Lucas Bastida at 154. I'll be real. I went to bed, turned around. I was watching the fight and like I turned around, like I was literally facing the wall. I'd rather watch the paint dry than watch Josh Kelly fight again. He's proper boring. He can't do anything at 154. I don't know why he moved up. He's not big. No, just because he doesn't want to fight Avanesyan again. He doesn't want to get smoked on. There's no reason to move up to 154. He was calm at 147.
No, he was having weight issues, isn't it?
Just stop being fat. Like he's not a 154. He's a small, very, very small 154 fighter. He's not gonna. The fight they're trying to line up next is Troy Williamson, which I don't know how it's gonna work because he's with Probellum. So I don't know how.
Probellum's still active.
Yeah, but like, didn't Probellum sue Boxer?
Oh shit! Yeah.
So Probellum, and they're suing Boxer. So if Probellum might do something with Wasserman, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. And if Probellum are proper still on it, I've seen that they had a recent event, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Troy Williamson versus Josh Kelly for the British title is not going to go well for Josh Kelly because Troy's bigger, he's stronger. Okay, Josh Kelly probably is the faster guy, but as the rounds go on, Josh Kelly's just going to get he's just going to get battered. And I don't know why I put UD12. He only went 10 rounds, but yeah. What do you think about Josh Kelly being? Huh?
Was it actually 10-round fight or?
Yeah, it's 10 rounds. It was 10 rounds. I accidentally put 12. What do you think about Josh Kelly being at 154? And what do you think about his career?
It's stagnating, isn't it? Like since Avenisian, I think that's kind of the end of him, like as a competitive, fight. So now he's a bit, just trying to make his second comeback. But I don't really have that much stocks in him. I quite like to. I had a lot of stocks in him early, and he's another guy that's a fraud, like I said earlier. So yeah, didn't even know didn't actually know the fight yesterday. But I watched his last fight, which was boring.
Oh yeah.
But this one I didn't even know about. So
it's crazy because he was the main event, and they went to Newcastle for him and everything, and it was half filled, and his fight went from 11:15 till 12 o'clock, like in the night. Like it's a main event, and they wait. I think they kind of waited for Billam-Smith Chamberlain to finish, but even then, like, why would you do that? There are people there that need to go home. Like it's 12 a.m. Who's going to stay up for 12 a.m. for a main event like that? And especially for Josh Kelly fighting, But we'll see. I mean, his career is weird because since the Avenisian, you can tell that it really is taking a toll on him. Like he's not the same kind of fighter, and he doesn't want to. If he takes on a risk in Troy Williamson, I think the same at Venetian, he's going to get stopped again. So we'll see. But and now we'll do next week's preview. So next week we've got Virgil Ortiz taking on Michael McKinson in I think it's was it Grand Prairie, Texas? I think it is his hometown. On the zone card, I think the winner of this probably becomes WBO mandatory. I don't think anything's said yet, but most likely the winner of this will be the next fight. Would fight next for the WBO belt. What do you feel about this fight between Virgil Ortiz and Michael McKinson?
It's an interesting fight. I think it's a fight that Virgil Ortiz is expected to win, but McKinson's actually a tricky customer. Like he's not. He's very elusive, and he knows how to spoil a fight per se, where you can bring your output down and so forth. So it's not going to be as straightforward as people think it is. If Ortiz goes in and bangs him out, that's always in the cards because Ortiz is known as a heavy hitter. But at the same time, how well is Ortiz preparing for his fight? Because we know about his issues last time with the weight and stuff like that. He got called off, right? Because
he went to hospital.
Yeah.
Something about his stomach.
Yeah. Like that's what they said. That's what it said on paper. But behind the scenes, a lot of people saying that his weight was crazy high. So you never know how much he's cutting himself to kill himself to make weight and so forth. So interesting matchup.
He got a new trainer as well. I forgot who it was. Because I remember he left. It originally was Robert Garcia, and then I think he left. I think it's Manny Robles. Can't tell. No, I think so originally everyone thought it was going to be Eddie Reynoso, and then I think it's Manny Robles, or he hasn't chosen.
Even Eddie Reynoso, I don't think I was joining him in a hurry.
I think it was Manny Robles. Then it has to be. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be his dad. Obviously, his dad's always going to be. His dad's always been there, but also Manny Robles is going to be training. And Manny Robles isn't a bad trainer, so and if it works, it works. But like you said, it's. And also, we said in the group chat that Michael can spoil a fight. He could even, do the upset here because he's very awkward. But for me, I think for Virgil, this is the perfect fight you need if you want to take on someone like Terence Crawford, because obviously Terence is a different level, but it's that style of southpaw, being awkward, having to deal with stuff that you've never really seen before. And he also, Michael's young. He's hungry. He's not there for a payday. He's also trying to become a world champion as well. So it's going to be a good fight. And if Virgil does what he normally does and breaks him down in the 7th, I mean, who's to say that it raises his stock even further? And I think this will class as a better win than. Yeah, of course. I'll just keep talking. I think it'll probably class as a better win than what's his name? I forgot his name now. Jaron Ennis. Anything that Jaron Ennis has, but it's complicated because for Virgil, I think he's. I was saying. I think if he beats McKinson, it's a better win than any name that Jaron has.
Yeah,
and I think that would raise his stock even more because this is a tougher fight for him than anything that Jaron's had. I think if Crawford and Spence, if it's taken long, just make the Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. I know these two promotions don't want to lose their, top quality dog, but we're gonna benefit so much from seeing those two fight, and those two are gonna benefit from fighting each other.
They've got years to go. Like they can, anyone can lose and still, and the career can still go on.
Yeah,
like, I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
And if they fight each other, it's the perfect way. Like, look, I beat this guy. Now I'm ready for Errol, or I'm ready for Terrence. But I don't think they're going to get either Terrence or Aaron because I think after the Errol Terrence, both guys are going to move up.
Going to move up weight, yeah. One of them at least, yeah.
And then they'll get the vacant belt, and then maybe then, if the money's right, they'll do Virgil Ortiz versus Jaron Ennis for like a unification bout. But Virgil, there's a lot of riding on him. You can tell that Golden Boy have got they want him to be a cash cow, and fair enough. In his own hometown, he actually sells out the venues and the arenas. He's pretty big there, but they need to start ramping up his promotion and stuff. Because I feel like Jaron is probably bigger.
Yeah. Showtime are putting a lot behind him.
Yeah, so I think the thing about Golden Boy is a bit weird that they need to put more money into promoting Virgil, and this fight should have at least a press conference, and you should get guys like these young guys like Virgil and Michael when they're fighting, get them on the ESPN, the first takes and stuff, not ESPN, but the shows that they have on the networks, get them out there on the Zone, the boxing shows, all of that, and the more promotion the fight has, the bigger he's going to get, and the bigger stars. Because I feel like the best young prospects like Jaron and Virgil don't get enough promotion and backing behind them.
Showtime are definitely doing it for Ennis. He was even the part of the broadcast campus in that. Him and him and cool boy Stephen, what his name is, the lightweight.
Stephen Fortin.
Huh?
Which one?
Yeah, Stephen Fortin. Yeah, both of them. They're part of the crew. Like they've been plastering them.
They're both part of the same camp, so yeah. Credit, fair play to Showtime. I mean, Golden Boy needs to start putting more money into Virgil because I'd rather they put more money into Virgil than Ryan Garcia. I mean, Ryan Garcia's already there, so you can still back him, but you don't have to put in as much time and effort because he's already at that level. You just got to get him the fights. Virgil's now you got to get the exposure out for him. I still feel like not many people know about him like that. So,
yeah.
What's your predictions for that fight?
Probably
it's not your. You can change it next week, but it's just a.
Yeah, I can afford to do it. I've been running with this thing consistently. I think I've been collecting the most points every week. Been top of the league since the beginning.
Yes, what's your prediction?
So yeah, I've got it. Ortiz late stoppage.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd say the same. Yeah, I just feel like we haven't seen McKinson get hit to the body, so I don't know how he'd react, and especially because Virgil's such a brilliant, potent body attacker. So one of the best in the game, and he's 100% knockout ratio. So him and Beterbiev are still those high level guys that have that 100% knockout ratio. So
yeah,
hopefully we get to see more knockouts from him. Is there anything else we need to cover? I think we've got everything else there.
Yeah, I think we're good.
And Jake Paul, haha.
Didn't care anyway, so
yeah. All right, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Twitter at Ringside Fracas, and give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and we'll see you in the next episode. See you.